Be interesting to see their mood when you get in there in the locker room. They were rocking and rolling in practice today. There was a lot of competition, and there was a lot of jabbering going on back and forth in a positive, fun way, competing way. So don't be shocked if they're still talking when you get in there this afternoon. Questions?
Can you get a sense, I think we've asked you this probably, from these practices, what Sundays are going to be like?
I will tell you this, is that I get more of a sense when practice is bad when Sundays are bad. But what we do with every single meeting, every single practice, every single walkthrough, when we're doing it the right way, then we're not surprised on how well Sundays are. And those are the things that they've bought into and done a very good job. And to be quite truthful, it's hard for me not to say that everything hasn't improved day by day by day. And today might have been the best that I've seen them do. And now we just got to take it to the next day and then take it to Sunday and be ready to roll.
It seems that DeAndre Hopkins doesn't get kind of the national love maybe that he deserves. What makes that guy so tough?
And I will tell you this, is that we talked about the very same thing in our staff meetings and then with our install meetings with our players, and that he is extremely competitive, extremely physical, extremely hard-nosed, really good football player. He makes plays that aren't there because of his willpower, because of his wanting to compete. And he's a pretty good athlete on top of all that. And there's a good synergy between him and the quarterback. And we understand that when Deshaun is in some type of a mode of we've broken the pocket down or something has changed in the coverage, he's still going to look for him. And he's put him into some difficult situations at time, and DeAndre's come up with the ball. So those are all confident things that are built between each other.
Beating a team as good as Houston has not happened in the expansion era this late in the season. But, that's history. But you're right in the middle of, knowing what a win over a team like that might mean. And what is that?
The big thing is that a win is a win in respect of, we're not going to discount any type of a win, and that we have to build off of wins, and hopefully we're building in the right way. We have presented them. We presented every team we played in a very favorable, very good competitive format. And this week we have had no problems getting our players' attention on how good they are. They see the film too. They're playing very well. We have to take it up a notch, and we have to play and perform and produce in the right way.
What makes JJ great?
His physical skill set, his power, his quickness is good. But then on top of that, what separates the really premier players is their instincts. There are times I'm sure he can't tell you why he knew what was getting ready to happen. I've been blessed to coach a lot of players that way. And another really good one at the defensive line, tackle in position, Aaron Donald can't tell you that same thing. And I would talk to him constantly about that. And I saw him in college do that a lot before we ever had a chance to coach him. JJ does a very good job of seeing more than just the obvious. And then his power, his strength, his quickness all aid into now can you slow him down once he has guessed right. And he does guess, but more times right than wrong.
To prepare for one elite rusher in Watt, but they got Merciless and they got Clowney too. Just how do you prepare for that trio?
Those are things, and those are things that you have to do from an overall protection standpoint. And then those are things that the quarterback has to do at times too. And understanding the position is that sometimes we've got to do some things that are a little bit off kilter as far as the timing of things, and then we can possibly add some extra into the protection at times. But you got to win your one-on-ones, got to do a good job with that, and they have to work as in sync as an offense. Okay, you can't just have one guy responsible for something like that. It has to be in sync as an offense.
How much do you, when you talk about competition, how much do you believe in starters going against starters in practice at this point of the season?
And that's good, Pat, is that I've always been teased about the fact that anybody that makes a team's a starter at this level, in all honesty. But what we do is that we do say good on good and as much as you can. And I do believe that is vital And it's not just this time of the year, it's all the time of the year. And that's how you get better. You don't get better, for instance, at the end of training camp, when you talk about evaluating some of the guys that, are they going to make your team or not? And you as a coach, we as a staff haven't put them in against people who are going to make other teams. And all of a sudden we're evaluating them on guys who are going to get cut anyway or on the streets. Same thing here now. We're going to get ready to play against guys who belong in the league, and they got to practice against those kind of things too. One of the things that we've adjusted in the practice schedule, and you guys aren't out there, is that we have competition periods every day. We start with a competition period. We end with 1 or 2 competition periods. It didn't have anything to do with the Texans. It had about competing. And yesterday it was fun to see Baker take it to another level on a couple of things. And even today, the competition bled back over from yesterday. And it was interesting, and it was fun to see them do that. And you got them. You know that they're getting better when that kind of energy and that kind of execution was taking place yesterday and today.
Can you give one example of a competition? What do you mean by a competition?
We'll have a blitz period, okay? We'll have a red zone period. We'll have a 4th down period. We'll have a special situation period where we create situations at the end of the game. We've been doing better with that, and we do that every day. We have some type of an end of the game, end of the half type situations, and it's offense versus defense. You're both in it, so how do you handle it? And then how we grade it among the staff and how we grade it among the players. You can see the learning curve accelerating in that, and we're not shocked when we're in those situations because we've been going over them and over and over them.
It's back to running again 9 times the other day for effective yardage. On the issue of quarterbacks who can run and will, what do you come down in terms of, to an extent you've got to preserve a quarterback and you have to regulate his running, even if he can't.
It's a fine line, it really is, and I really do think it goes to the individual player. There are certain players that's part of their game why they're getting a chance to play at this level. But then as a coach, schematically, you're trying to decrease the hits, decrease the labor that you're putting on those guys, and I think Bill's done that. There's a definite shift from last year to this year in those functions and those areas, but he's still a really good athlete. And even though maybe some of the design runs are decreased a little bit, he scrambled 40 plus, 50 plus times this year. When I say scrambled, for positive yardage, that doesn't mean all the scrambles that he ends up throwing the ball away or gets sacked. So he still has his mobility, and he really has doing a very good job with that, and that's going to be a big part of the game on how we try to minimize the escapability that he has.
You talked about how Watson's legs can make it difficult in the passing game for your defense yesterday, but how much of a challenge is it to account for him and Lamar Miller in the run game?
Yeah, it does, and it does make a big difference. And will do this is that I will also say it's the same thing with Baker and Chubb, because Baker can extend plays very well too, and he's done a very good job with that, and has been somewhat of a pain for other people to do. It's been at times it's a pain for us in practice. Today he had a couple of really good extended plays in practice today, where it's not something you can draw up as a coach. It's what you feel as a player, and he's able to do those things, and so can Deshaun.
In what ways has Schobert improved from last year to this year?
In almost every facet of the game, he improved, and he was the only one that went to the Pro Bowl here last year. And not a lot of people thought he could play, and I take that personal. And I can't tell you how proud I was of how much he matured and how well he played from start to finish. Made a lot of drastic improvement. Really, the last half of the year, the last quarter of the year was a lot. But what he did in the offseason, I shake my head that I don't know that I've had maybe any other player spend that much time mentally into the game and understand all the little nuances of an opponent. As he learned what we're doing defensively, and I say this to coaches all the time, and I say this to players all the time, you need to know what the other side of the ball's doing. When you know as much about what the other side of the ball's doing than now you really have an advantage. He's taken tremendous strides in his offensive understanding, concepts, calls, checks, alignments, tips, alerts, and I can't tell you how much he babysits for, I tell him all the time, me and other players when he gets out on the field. The story goes back to this, as an old-time quarterback, and then all of a sudden an offensive coach, and I got a chance to move over into the defensive coach in George Allen's system when I got a chance to work for Jack Pardee in a very detailed, successful, very reputable system of defense. But one of the things when I first started doing that, I was always shaking my head all the time thinking, how come the offense always has final say? For what reason? Now, we got to do what they're telling us to do. We're in this, but there wasn't hardly any check systems at all in that. And then Buddy Ryan came along. And every single thing we did defensively was a check. And when Jeff Fisher then said, okay, now you're in charge of this, because we had to do some drastic things differently once free agency came about, because you didn't have guys for 8, 9, 10 years on carryover. You had a new set of players every year that you're trying to get all this stuff done to. Had to hybridize the check system. We're probably defensively as much of a check system in the league as anybody. But that's only effective if the guy can handle it and you don't burden the guy that handles it. Right now, I can't give him enough. He's asking for more. He's asking for more. And he's made a lot of strides in that area. And then I think it lets him cut it loose and show how much speed and athleticism he has. So the next step is taking the ball away again more. He had some great takeaways early in the year where he understood where the ball was going before anybody else understood where the ball was going. So he's made a lot of progress.
One more thing on him, he said he had never been hurt, like he
Ever.
was this year, right? So because that was a new experience, what did he show you in working through that? And then you played
What I saw there is this. I saw the same competitive, unbelievable competition on wanting to be faster than whatever the prognosis was, whatever the diagnosis was in there, he was going to come back faster. But the thing that he did was he did not let the mind sleep. And so we gave him coaching responsibilities. And with what we were doing in installation, how he was breaking the opponent down, how he was presenting the opponent to other players in the room, how he was coaching on the practice field every day. So he kept his mind sharp. And sometimes when you're down for a little bit of time, you come back and it's a shock to get back into the verbiage, get back into the speed of things. It wasn't any shock because he was doing it every single day in practice, and that helped him a lot.
Are there things about the Houston Texans that make them unique among the teams you've had to prepare for this year?
The unique parts of it, every single team poses some really good things on that. The big thing is that just from the competition of the matchups, we see the same matchups. As far as we've been going through a bunch of that right now defensively on the opponent's offense, but then it's carried over into our offense having the matchup understandings and how we have to schematically help a little bit, battling some of those matchups. And the special teams, each and every week, you got to be able to do a good job in limiting the space, playing the field position game, but really, really restricting the space. And Amos has done a very good job of doing that, and I think our guys have responded well to that.
Do you emphasize, you always talk about tackling. Do you do live tackling in practice here?
What we do is that we don't go live as far as to the ground. The contact's live, and then the speed of some of the drill things set up, we tackle every day. It doesn't make a difference if we're in shorts. If we have a helmet on, we tackle every day. And some of it's, bag work. Most every day, there's some type of body work, but we don't take them to the ground. And we've just got to make sure that, we're in the right form and responsibility so that it'll go to the ground on game day.
Jarvis Landry producing as much as he should be in this offense?
Right now, as he's fitting in very well. And, I will tell you this, his production as a leader has been outstanding too on the things that how, we're trying to make sure the versatility of everybody on the formations that we're putting out there, and also making sure the predictions of other teams' defenses on what do you think we're going to do. And a large part of the success right now is that we've been breaking some tendencies, and he's done a really good job of helping us do that.